Okay, folks, welcome back. Let's get everything turned around. Actually, I don't think I need this one. I think we're okay without that. All right. So this is the stuff that we started on, and I guess I left my super readers out there. I will just make do. I don't think we're doing any super precision stuff this evening, but we clear coated some of these. We clear coated some of these vehicles. Good Lord. See if we can get this center where it's supposed to be. Give it a second for it to catch up. All right, we'll move it a little bit this way. I think that should get everything in the view. Need a freaking producer. I need a gaffer? All right. Here's all the parts of some of the lowrider builds and some other stuff here. So I'm just going to pull these guys out. And we're going to give these guys a brown wash, at least on the areas that we need to do that on. All right. So this is going to need a brown wash. So is this. So is this guy. So is this, which will be the next vehicle. Yeah, the lowriders as well. Same thing with this. And the bottoms of these aren't really the same thing. I think this vehicle here, I thought I was going to make it for the lowriders. It's kind of a lowrider thing. It's got a scorpion on it, which I didn't even know was a comic book character. I don't really know shit about comic book characters, thank goodness. And I think we're going to turn this guy into the Nerd Burglar vehicle, one of them. This has got a comic book thing. So, to be continued on that one. But these all have gotten a clear, flat coat on them so that the strong tone can attach to it. Not dark tone, strong tone. I've got one of these that's almost dead. I'd like to finish that one. It's not this one. It's not this one. This one. All right, let's see if we can kill this thing and move on. Let's find a brush that's not going to leave lots of little residue things on it. And also that's not massive. Let's see if I can. This one's pretty big, but nah, I need to have like a major brush cleaning session. I'm getting so much stuff done that I haven't gone back and taken care of the brushes. It's all because of dry brushing and washes and things like that. This doesn't really happen when we're just doing like painting figures. Man, none of these definitely seem like they're complete, obvious choices. Hey, this guy right here. This is probably a good one. Okay. We need a little container to put this on, or a card or something. Let's just use one of these hotel cards. It should be fine. We'll see if anybody shows up tonight. I got to do this anyway, so I figured, well, let's film it and see what happens. All right. We're just going to put some of this stuff here. And we'll start off with the easy ones, which are these guys right here. Actually, I'm going to go get my super readers. I left them in the garage. They're basically, instead of 1.5, they're like 375. I'll be right back. I'm not even going to pause the video. Yeah, we don't want this stuff pooling unnecessarily. You know? All right. Pretty simple. Now, if you don't put a flat coat on here, it's going to be a bit challenging to get this to stick to it because it'll just be really smooth. I mean, these cars have a very smooth surface. And we're going to stack them. This is probably a decent thing to stack them on. Vodka. All right. We'll stack them in this area here. All we're going to do is, and we might want to cut this down with some water because there's different levels if you can do that. Let me show you guys how we do this. Although I need to get some water that is not super dirty. So let me get this'll do. I'll be right back. Just right from the fridge. All right. And that's so you don't automatically have to make it whatever darkness this is, right? Like these are relatively new looking vehicles, and I don't want them really to look that way. So we're going to take some of the, I don't really want them to look that dark. So we're going to take some of the strong tone. We're going to cut some water into it, a little bit more. Yeah, something like this. And all we're going to do is we're going to go over it. And you think, well, that's not really making much of a difference. If you don't do it and put it side by side with another one, it doesn't look as good. It doesn't look as good. Let's see if we have any. I thought I had another. Man, that's the only problem about having two workshops is you leave something over there outside. This will work. We'll use this to move this thing around. You end up leaving something outside in the garage that you want inside and vice versa. Like a cherry red or something like that. Ooh, this has got cool rear lights. Too bad it's red. Meaning if it was another color, it'd stand out. If this is like a light blue or one of those like sea greens or something like that. You know how they had all those type of colors like in the 50s and stuff? Like the colors of refrigerators. That'd be pretty cool. Okay, so you got that one done. Don't ask me which model that is because I don't remember. I think that's I don't remember. Well, I could just read on the back of it, but one of them is a Cadillac, one of them, this is the Cadillac. Yeah, this is the 53 Cadillac. I'm sorry, this is the Cadillac. This is an Impala, and the other one is a Impala also. So one's a 58 Impala, one's a 59. Got it. Yeah, it's these Eisenhower time period cars. I'm not a big fan of them. I don't really like the wings and stuff. Not a big fan of that stuff. All right, this is the one that we're going to call El Guapo, which the best translation for that is pretty boy. You know, if you go to some place like Moe's, God help you. That place used to be all right. Now it's just not very good. They had a salsa called El Guapo, Pretty Boy. I don't know why, but of course they got weird named menu items, anyways. It's just so we have these white stripes aren't perfectly, completely bright ass white when we're doing this. Okay. This one's the 53 Cadillac that actually has a little slot here for like what looks like a really big Pinewood Derby car. So we're going to go ahead and give the Mexicants, an RC controlled car. So in other words, there's RC bombs, radio control bombs. You can have them. The Nerd Burglars are going to have one. And because these guys have this in the back of the car, I'm like, that's a good opportunity to have that. I don't know how effective of a weapon is. I think it's going to be good for a few laughs. So that alone is a win. Okay, so that's visible. Lots of stripes on there. And whatever kind of treatment they did to it, it actually looks like the glaze they put on there for the blue is semi-transparent, meaning it's darker in some areas and lighter in others. So it's almost like it's got like a built-in some shading in there. All right, we got this panel van here. This is probably somebody's up to no good. I'm hoping some of my regulars show up because I got a question for my regulars, and I'm not just saying that, but I actually found something today that lots of you guys are telling me about, and a video game lots of you guys are telling me about, and I didn't realize that they made a TV show about it. Now, unlike almost any video game that they've made of a TV show, it probably sucks. But I figured I'd get you guys input on it, especially if you played the video game. And no, we're not talking about Borderlands. That was terrible. Well, I was actually expecting it to be worse. I was actually expecting it to be worse. All right, let's go over this. This apparently had some kind of decal or something on it, and I took it off with acetone or something a while ago because there's like remnants of it in white. I have a feeling this was some kind of post office vehicle. I don't know why. I just have a feeling that that's what that was. And it's just absolutely hollow on the inside. We've got those spare doors that we're going to glue on the back. And now we've got all that on there. We'll go ahead and do the roof also. And we're going to need more of this. I wonder if there's people that do like live feeds and pull a Phil Henry. And what I mean by that is definitely go out of your way to say things that are controversial to get, audience response. I don't want to do shit like that. That's not, that's not my shtick. But I know for a fact there's Facebook groups that do stuff like that. Specifically put, stuff that's going to create dialogue. Like you have an opening poster that says something that's just outlandish. All right, got that guy. Got this. Ooh, this feels really cold. It's not that cold outside. It's been cold and wet all day today. Drizzle or rain. It's like some British weather, except sunnier. I can only imagine. So we're just going to go over all of this, even though we're probably going to end up covering the front of this driver compartment. See, something like this could be a truck. It could be an ice cream truck. It could be, I guess it could be a heavy truck, although I don't really like the idea of heavy truck and not having dual wheels on the back. Well, the girls are out of town right now. I figured I'd get some painting done before they showed up, but man, I'm banking on you guys giving me some interaction. Otherwise, we'll go do something else once we're done with this. But I have to do this anyways, so. Now, as far as what team these things are going to be on, I'm not sure. This is probably going to be the British team. That vehicle right there. Let's move that out of the way. Now, little alligator clips of. I don't want to go out to the garage again. What's this say? Dispatched tow carrier, family owned, M&C. Okay. Well, I'll put some of this over the graphics. I'm not even going to put it over the black. It won't be noticeable. And you know what? We're going to need to use more than that. I'm not even going to show as is. This weekend, we're going to make an expedition to hopefully. Hey, what's up from Brazil? We're going to have an expedition to go get the parts to build a rig. I think. It's funny, you can't find very many things in stores. You think, oh, I'll be able to find one of those, no problem. Pfft, fat chance. All right, and this, we'll cut this one down a little bit. Because this is white. It's going to be, but this is going to be dirty. This is going to be, I'm going to say this, and hopefully I don't curse myself by saying it. When I'm done with this vehicle, I think this is going to be a crowd favorite. Because I know what you guys like. You guys like apocalyptic looking stuff that's been damaged, so. This thing already came all chipped up and stuff. And it's going to get a new lease on life. It's going to be on the Mexican lowrider team, even though it is not a lowrider. Raipson Oliveira. That reminds me. There's a game convention here in Jacksonville. And they ran it for many years, and then people complained about the name of the convention. They said it was an offensive name. What was the name of the convention? Rapier. You know, like a ha-ha, I challenge you to a duel. No, it said it. Ignorant people said, oh, it just reminded them of raping. Like, I don't think anybody's even been raped with a rapier before, but okay. So they had to change the name of it. I don't go to it, but if I did, I'd still call it rapier just to piss people off. Okay. That one looks like it should have like a little Mexican flag draped on it or somewhere. We may do that. We may do that. Or may do my own little version of the Mexican flag, which means we'll change the center a little bit. I love flags with eagles, but for whatever reason, the Mexican flag just looks a little not as cool as some of the other ones. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because it's inside of a tricolor. I'm not sure. So we got to keep the tricolor because if people know it's Mexican, we might stylize the eagle or something like that. Okay. That is done. So that has to dry now. So at this point, I need to look at cleaning up the items that are going to go on this guy right here. That's our next build. It's a heavy truck, and it is going to be called El Carnicero, which means the butcher. Okay, it's a heavy truck, and it is going to have a ram on it, and it is going to have this interesting device that is really poorly cast. Let me bring it over here to you. And I think I'm going to switch one thing out. And I'll show it to you. Like I said, I think this is going to be a crowd favorite. Maybe it won't be. And I specifically want it to be white because there's going to be blood splattering on it. Not excessive. I mean, it's not going to be off the scene of Saw or something like that. But this is originally what I was going to put on here. So you got some saw blades, speaking of saw, and a wood chipper here. Okay, but I think what I'm going to do is actually do one that has no guard. So you have one that's a little bit more open. And by a little bit more open, meaning this. See, it's like sticking out a little bit more. I think that's what I'm going to do. That'll allow me to put blood in more places. Okay, so it's going to have that, and it's going to have this big thing on the back. This is what's poorly cast. I don't know why, but it is. We're going to have to trim it down a little bit. And it's going to have this big seesaw saw blade on the back. Okay, which we're going to treat this as a wrecking ball. Okay, so it's going to look, this looks a lot more deadly than it is. I mean, a wrecking ball's, fun and all that, but so it's going to be doing something like, once I cut this thing down so it actually fits in here. Let's see if we can put a piece of goop in here so we can all visualize what the hell it's going to look like. I actually have to lean it forward so we articulate it down. Something like that. Something like that. It's got a big blade. Looks like something off of like Doom or something. Okay, I actually got this thing specifically to get this little pinchy thing for the armored truck called the Penny Pincher. Okay, but Penny Pincher will have to wait. We're going to do the Carnicero next. Okay, yeah, I think that looks better than, it looks more imposing. We can put this on another vehicle. It's not like we don't like this. This is super cool. I think this is a little bit more imposing. All right. So these parts we will not need for the time being. Let's clean this up, which is where I was at the other day when I had to stop. I'm going to actually take this center part out. Let's see if I can. Be nice to actually have this all the way up against the grill. That's definitely would be handy. Let's mark this with a Sharpie here. Okay, and we're going to take that center part out, or at least attempt to. Now I don't want to push this against something because then we're going to mess up the blades. So let's see if we can get away with doing this. That'll just allow it to give it a lot more better purchase on here. I don't want to take the whole thing out. I'm actually fine with it being this, having this reinforcing on there. You know what? I got more of these things I know what to do with. Pull one of them out, make short work of it. Now, that wasn't supposed to happen. Let's take this one as well. It's working pretty well. And when we get a little closer, we can just take that little bit off. Yeah, it looks really good. Okay, let's just do the same thing over here. Anyways, lots of you guys have been talking about that Twisted Metal game, video game, that I never got a chance to play. I didn't have a Sony PlayStation. And then I noticed that there is a Twisted Metal show on Peacock. I don't know if it's worth a damn. I figured some of you guys may be able to tell me. It probably isn't. I mean, I don't know if there's any... There's no show that's based on a video game that I've enjoyed. And yeah, I don't play Fallout, so I'm not watching. Actually, I didn't like the beginning of that Fallout show. It really bothered me. I don't like making fun of nuclear war. Not cool. So, but it's probably not any good. I want to watch it for the vehicles, and it's probably focused on the people, which I honestly don't care about. You don't care about people? Well, not in that environment, I don't. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. We need to just clean it up just a little bit, and we should be good to go. This will give you a lot of purchasing area. These saw blades are actually pretty sharp. Will dig into your fingers. Okay, let's take a look now. That's pretty good. That's pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. So that's going to go on the front. Okay, the rest of this, it's just really crude. It's really, really crude casting. And it's funny because this is the same maker. Okay, the same person who made this made this. Now I got 12 or 11 or 12 or 13 pack clippings from this guy. And these are super precision. I mean, I don't know that I've seen something 3D printed that is as clear and precise as this. And then I don't think I've seen anything 3D printed that is as shittily made as this. Now, with that said, it'll end up being fine. You know, I just won't order another one of these. Not that I really intended to, because, you know, how many of these type of things do you need? But it's a little disappointing. But every single thing else I got from this guy, superb casting. It might just be something he had an old file and, you know, he can't resin print it. He can only do FDM or whatever. I think that's what it's called. It definitely has a lot of little lines and stuff in there, but it's the only item of 11. And I looked at pictures like, man, how did I miss that? And I don't know that you can tell in the picture whether it's FDM or not. Just a little bit of flash there. Those little pieces there. Yep, that's good. It's unidirectional. And this actually fits together pretty well. It's tight, like you don't need to do anything else to it. Now, the width-wise here, the ends are tapered. So I think what we're going to have, I'm going to start off first of all with just cutting this all the way to this bolt. Cut it flush to this bolt on all the legs. You just need it on 2 really, but might as well do all of them so it looks together. Yeah, I mean, this thing's, it's designed well. It's just not printed very well. It's not up to par with the rest of his items. So we're just going to scrape some of this off. I mean, this side's really, really rough. So what we'll do is just paint this like it's all bloody and rusty and it's got, you know, it's all scabbed out. Butcher from Diablo. Fresh meat. How would you do that in Spanish? Carne fresca. What does a butcher like sound like in Spanish? Carne fresca. Yeah, we're going to need to turn this in so it's not way out here interacting with other vehicles and not allowing them to stack. actually going to put that in like so. There we go. Now we can get somebody in there when it's just flush against the back almost. And that's just dangling. I like that. I like that a lot. Now, what's it going to take for me to be able to put this flat on here? I'm going to have to take like that whole damn bolt off, aren't I? Yeah, I think I'm going to have to do that. We're just going to do it on the two short sides. That's what we're going to do. Even bring it in a little bit so that we can pretty much put this and not obstructing, so you don't have another vehicle there. All right, we're going to put a little shim underneath here so they have a similar height. Certainly, I've got some little pieces, parts. I wonder how many of this will take. It's going to take more than one, probably two. Did we leave our scissors here? No, we didn't. All right, well, let's just cut this down. All right, that's good. And then we just set another one on top of it. How does that look? And then when we put this thing down, got it attached into something else. All right, so I like that, but I'd like to have this a longer distance. Maybe cover the whole damn thing with it. Where's my, let me just take the scissors. It's probably easier to fool with it with that. Okay. That long enough? It is. Let's see how we did. Okay, let's trim this. Let's 90 degree this out. And then let's take a smidge off. Okay, look at that. It's perfect. It's almost like I know what I'm doing. This is so damn forgiving. Now, the only bad thing about doing this is these materials are very slick. So you can't use like a pencil and stuff like that. It won't stay on it. It's a little bit more, a little bit more. Perfect. So we're going to glue that down. Shit, I should have left the, no, it wouldn't fit. It wouldn't fit sideways. Wouldn't fit that way. I'm going to do this thing again. And this is basically, I got this from a junk drawer. I got this at a flea market or something like that. I think I got this one at the flea market. We're just going to glue one on top of the other, and then this will be eventually glued here. And then we'll have this on the front, and with some armor plates and shit like that we're going to put on there as well. So the first thing is, let's use the standard super glue. And then we will do this one on top. If this stuff wasn't so slick, this would be perfect. Actually, if this would work with the weld cement, I'd love this. And now when we go to put this on, it'll be on there and it'll be leveled. And I'm going to put it so it's leaning against this. That gives it a little bit of support. Okay, I'm not going to cut this thing off and put a magnet in there and maybe be able to turn it around and stuff like that. You know, it can just ride like this. Okay. And then this, of course, on the front. I got half of mine to just glue it there now, and it can just prime it in place. There's a tiny little bit of a ledge. I think I'm going to use that to my advantage. Ooh, is this coming off? No bueno. Maybe we'll put shirts in on here. That'd be pretty cool. But I don't have anything to do that it's armored. So like I was building this thing. And it's a heavy truck, so it's 25 points. A Ram now we're at 29. Wrecking Ball, 31. So we're at 31 points, and we'd like to get to 35, and we still have a slot on there. Okay, so you know, ideally you would like to put something on like something on a turret, but that's going to triple the value of it. Even if I put a regular machine gun on a turret, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem from the standpoint of it's going to be a problem from the standpoint of points. So if I put a chain, and I'd really like for this thing to have a skill, a perk, because there's some really brutal looking perks, and this should be a pretty brutal freaking vehicle. All right, so let's go look at the perks and see what we can do. And I'd like to stick to 35 points, but we may have to make an exception. We may have to jack this up to something else, because I still have a slot. This uses up 1. The Wrecking Ball uses up 3. I believe that's correct. It does. It doesn't cost anything, but it uses up 3 slots. I mean, it's only 2 damn points, but it uses up 3 slots. So let's go over to the perks. Okay. Speed, no. Not a speed perk. I should start at the beginning. Aggression. Double-barreled, okay. Boarding party, okay. Battle hammer, making a smash attack. Vehicle gains +1 attack for each hazard token it currently has. I already have a vehicle that has that. Terrifying lunatic. Yep, that's what this guy should be. Whenever a vehicle controlled by another player ends its movement within short range of this vehicle, the active vehicle gains a hazard token. That short's really short range, so okay. Murder tractor. This vehicle may make pile driver attacks like a war rig. That's starting to sound pretty good. That basically pushes people the hell out of the way. That would be different. But it is 5 points. So now we're at 36 and we don't have a machine gun. I'd really like to put like a chain gun at the top. So a chain gun is going to be 5. So now we're at 36. And then a murder tractor would put it at 41. Which honestly, I would not want to stop at 41. I'd be more likely to do like 27 times 2 at 54. So I got a lot of 27-point vehicles. So that way this thing can be, in the place of one of them. In place of 2 of the 27-point vehicles. I think that's what makes sense. Because we already have a 35-point area, we have a 27-point area. So if I go to the next one, I don't want like a 40-something that's going to be really difficult to balance it out. Murder tractor would be 5. Let's put it. Chain gun is going to be. Let's see. Let's see how we're getting here. Chain gun. Or minigun. Chain gun uses up a slot, so I got all the slots used, and it's 5. So now we're at 36. Murder tractor is 5. Now we're at 41. We need to get 13 more. I think that's just too many perks. I'm fine giving it another perk. I don't want to give this thing 4 perks. Yeah, I don't have a murder tractor yet. So. Now, there is a skill here called, as odd as it is, let's see. It's not going to be under precision. This does not need precision. Horror, or any of the things horror here. All right, let's see what it is. Once purifying flames. Once per activation at the start of this vehicle's activation, this vehicle may suffer up to 3 damage to select any friendly vehicle. For each point of damage suffered via this effect, repair that number of hull points on the target vehicle. Oh, so it can take damage and it can basically help other vehicles. Okay, this vehicle is not that. Ecstatic visions. Once per activation, at the start of this vehicle's activation, this vehicle may gain up to 3 hazard tokens. To discard a hazard token from a friendly vehicle for each hazard token gained. No. Sympathy for the devil. This vehicle makes an evade. This vehicle's not going to evade. This is a non-evading vehicle. This is a confrontational vehicle. Highway to Hell. At the end of his movement step, this vehicle selected a straight template. This vehicle may suffer 2 damage. This damage counts as having the fire rule. If any hull points are removed by this effect, this vehicle may leave its movement template. In play is a napalm. No, it's not a flaming weapon. Violent manifestations. Vehicles respond. Nope. Angel of Death before making an attack. This vehicle may suffer up to 3 damage. Add that many attack dice to a single weapon used in this attack. That's kind of cool, but I'd like for this thing to be like, armored or something like that. Not going to do military on this thing. Precision, it's not precision. Pursuit, not doing pursuit on it. Reckless, okay. Not going to do technology, not going to do tuning. Let's not leave. Okay, this is the one skill that's really weird. You're paying 1 point for this. At the start of this vehicle's activation, this vehicle gains a hazard token. Why would you want to gain a hazard token? The only reason you might want to gain a hazard token is if you have that one perk that you get extra dice for each hazard token you have. It is called Battle Hammer. When making a smash attack, this vehicle gains an attack dice for each hazard token it has. All right, so let's do some. Let's do some. Because the whole point is not to make this vehicle super awesome. It's to make it look super. It's to make it play how it looks, right? So, is the Wrecking Ball considered a smash attack? Okay. So I'm going to go all the way to the back where the points for the Wrecking Ball are. See Special Rules 76. Okay, so we're going to go to page 76 and see what it says about this particular thing. Wrecking Ball. This vehicle does not require a target. When fired, this vehicle must immediately engage in a T-bone collision with every vehicle and destructible obstacle within short range of it. In a 360-degree arc of fire. In an order chosen by the vehicle's controller. So you pick a spot and you go counterclockwise or clockwise or what have you. During these collisions, all vehicles involved counting as having no weapons or perks except this one. Okay, so I can't add other things to it. And all other vehicles must declare an evade action. During each of these collisions, this vehicle gains 2 smash attack dice. This vehicle does not gain hazard tokens during these collisions. These collisions triggered by the Wrecking Ball do not benefit the effects of upgrades such as rams or exploding rams. Okay, so I can't add that to this. I can add it to the front ram, but I can't add it to the Wrecking Ball. Man, if you put hell for leather on this thing, this vehicle considers the long strafe to be permitted in any gear. That would be handy. Because right now we played with a heavy truck, and the problem with a heavy truck is you can really get helpful leather is 5. Now we're at 46. All right, let's see. Hell for leather, 46. Well, the reality is we're going to put a chain gun on there. So if it ends up being just, you know, no extra perks or whatever, because it's too many damn points, we don't have to do that. You know, we can play it that way as well. And where was the other one? Murder Tractor. Once per activation of vehicle. What are we short? 8. So 5. Well, you know, none of these things are going to physically add anything on there. So let's find us a chain gun and we can move on. All the chain guns are in here. It's going to be front firing only. Let's take out the usual, let's take out the cannons. That's one of them. That thing's massive. I'll put it out there, even though we're not going to select it. Here's another one that's super futuristic. There's another one. Here's a smaller one that's already been primed. I want to say there's one other one. Didn't quite fit on there. I think it's a real little one that I wouldn't want to use anyways. Oh, this massive thing. All right, now let's figure out which one of these we don't want to use. I mean, it's got to go here if it's forward firing. I was expecting this to look worse up there, but it's actually all right. That's not terrible. This one is too modern and futuristic. This is definitely for a turreted one, and we're not going to have a turreted up there. I mean, it can't clear anything, can it? Can it clear this thing in the back? I mean, that certainly would jack up the number of points. You'd add another 10. No, I mean, Let's not make this thing invincible. Well, it only takes 14 points of damage. It's not like it's, something massive. This one's not bad, but we're going to have to put something back here to basically balance it out, to make it look like it fits on here. This one's not bad. I don't really mind that it's actually pointing down a little bit. That might actually be, beneficial. And then this one. That's definitely not bad. So I don't think I could put it up here. I don't think I'm going to use this little one. It's too useful for lots of different stuff. I actually think I like that one. I got to cover these damn holes anyways. I got these damn holes there. Now, I got some interesting parts here that we may use some of them. Including some stacks. Got some extra like stacks and stuff in here, like smoke stacks and shit like that. Shit. I bet I could take this stuff off and put tracks back here. Well, it doesn't quite fit. Now, we'll leave that for another cool vehicle. Like I said, you can't use all the cool shit on one. All right, where are these, like, stacks? Here we go. Here's one of them. Certainly, they gave you 2. No? 1? Well, that's useless. Okay, so we're going to use these stacks that are already in there, and they're kind of wonkish. Yeah, well, it's going to lose. It would lose. It gains a dice, but it loses a gear. So now you'd only be able to go up to 2nd gear. That's not going to work. It's just way too slow. Even though you'd still be able to play the long straight. That's kind of freaking interesting. That's actually pretty interesting. That might actually be a deadly combination. Well, I've got another big-ass truck that doesn't really have a purpose. We can put the tracks on it. And nice-looking tracks, too. These are like half-track tracks. And they actually have this big, if you want to make it really wide, you put this stuff on them, put them way out there. All right, so we're going to have that. We're going to have that. We're going to have that. Big old bull horns. No, not on this one. Definitely neat, but can't have all the cool toys on every one of them. It's like a rear view mirror. I'm going to go ahead and glue this stuff on and then prime it on there. All right, now, again, we need to build this thing up. And I'm not sure if it'll take 2. Or 2 will be too high. No, I don't think so. I want to cover these 2 holes here. They really serve no purpose whatsoever. I mean, I could. Are they even with the ones on the bottom? They are. Man, I've had this stuff since the dark ages. Stuff probably smells too. It's, it's steel. Steel and brass, actually aluminum and brass little doodads. I feel like I need to put that on there. I mean, I've had this for probably 20 years. Can I get 2 of the same length? Nope. Well, these 2 are the same length. Can I get one of this length? I want to stick way up high. Is it going to get in the way of this? Nope. We sure aren't. Okay. I don't really want to cut this. Is it this one? No. Nope. Geez, none of them are the same length. Okay, well. Okay, those 2 are the same length. Let's get these heavy-duty things. In a perfect world, how long would I want these things to be? That's too tall. That's too tall. I like that. And I plan on bending them a little bit at the end. I know this is going to crimp them, but I don't have a saw. And I'm not going to go buy one for this. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut this. And then we're going to put this part towards the bottom. Did we get a message? Let's see here. No. What's going on here? Why is this? I've been filming and this thing isn't connected. Luckily, we didn't run out of juice. I got a pretty efficient phone. If I only lost down to 43%, that's good. All right, well. And then the other one was this one. All right, now I'm going to try this with one that I don't need the length of. Okay, so I'm going to see if I can stick this in the end. That's not really working. Actually, it might be. I don't need it. I don't want it bent that much anyways. I think it's perfect. Okay. So let's come over to here. Because these are all like, you know, these things are broken. We'll have to replace them with something else. I got this thing used from some, you know, kids, you know, breaking it. How's that go again? Constipated kid. We're going to put this all the way in. And we're going to bend this a wee tad. There we go. And then we'll do the same thing with this one. And we have those two stacks like so that we're going to glue in place. Obviously. This will overhang as so, and we need need more than that. Need two of these. Let's make it a little bit shorter. It's going to sit up there like that. All right, I'm going to use a little. Oh, the girls are here. Okay, that works. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and cut this one down, especially since we really haven't gotten no comments, and the girls are back. So we will continue this building the butcher soon. All right, folks, thanks for stopping by. Bye-bye.